Welcome to Lesson 4, Session 4 of LOTRO 101. I'm your hostess, Druidsfire. I am currently on the Landreval server, doing the Professor Corey teaching things in-game sort of dealio. So you won't see anything going on in-game, in the lore hall for a little bit, but we have a special guest later in the show, and I'm really excited because my dear friend TD has pulled all the stops out. We're going to get a T12 concert just for a little bit of time this afternoon when I discuss one of the other secondary gameplay loops in Lord of the Rings Online. So we went over all the basic stuff, the questing, the adventure, all the really good stuff in Lord of the Rings Online. Basically the stuff that would be, this is what you do in an MMO. That's what you can do in just about any MMO, right? Is you go out, you kill things, you level up, you have a noisy cat in the background, that kind of thing. Hello, Bookworm, Snorblum. Welcome, welcome, my friends. And I understand, since we are accelerating our schedule, that things will be maybe coming at you a little bit fast. That's okay. That's what the video's on demand are for. You can watch them later at your own pace. Hello. So let's move on to our first slide, because there's a wow. Hello, back up me. I just ran my character right into the band accidentally, because that's what the number lock key does. I really need to turn that thing off. Anyway, let me switch windows and do this. Boop. All right, so the first bit of secondary gameplay is something that's actually going on right now. There is a festival on in the game. We talked a little bit in a previous session about festivals. They're basically short-term events that run maybe generally about 2 weeks. And generally also coincide with real-life holidays or like spring. Like, it's the spring festival right now. Quests are available in the festivals to earn XP to level your character up. It's actually a really good way to level your character up. You can get tokens to barter for cosmetic, pets, mounts, emotes, legendary item consumables like starlit crystals and whatnot. There are some smaller events that include out-of-character game, like the out-of-character game anniversary next month in April, and things like Bilbo's birthday, which is normally in September, or Durin's Day, which is in October, I believe. However, because of current events, this will make this video very dated right now. Standing Stone Game is actually going to enable the Bilbo's birthday event next week, starting on, well, actually this week, on the 26th, I believe. Right there is the LOTRO events calendar, as you can see on the slide. And let me get you copy pasted on this. I'll plop that in chat for you. If you ever go to twitch.tv/LOTRO stream, you can do !events and it will pull that thread up for you. And you'll be able to see, you know, where we are in the schedule. And it maintains like the entire year's worth of scheduled events. My good and dear friend Fibro Jedi, one of the most amazing people that I know, is like is basically goes beast mode on these guides. He has a guide for pretty much every festival. He also does this for the folks at Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I don't know how he has the energy to do it, but he does. But that's his festival guide link. That's the category, so you can see all of the guides, and the Spring Festival is the one that's currently the big kahuna. Now, festivals involve things like there's a Harvest Math Festival. It's kind of spooky. It's, you know, it's kind of, there's a Halloween event called the Haunted Burrow, which is like my favorite thing. It's like, what would hobbits do if they had Halloween, right? And a little bit of spookiness going on, but nothing. It's Hobbit, so it's not really that. It's kind of like a Charlie Brown Hobbit. You know how if Charlie Brown was a Hobbit, this is the kind of holiday he'd create, right? It's kind of fun. There's one for the Yule Festival. There is a Farmer's Fair, which is generally in August, that may or may not be going away in the future. We don't know. Standing Stone has been making some rumbles about maybe making it go away. There's a Summer Festival. So there's all kinds of fun stuff. And they do these generally throughout the year. And sometimes players ask, well, hey, I didn't get all my stuff from the previous festival. Can you turn it back on again for a little bit? And sometimes, like, they might do, like, a festival, like a Yule in July sort of thing. Sorry, TD Growl, my dear friend. There are no waffles in the Signum channel. If they were my personal channel, there'd be waffles and syrup for you. But you'd have to clean up the mess. All right. So the cool thing about festivals, easy to get your characters leveled. There's all kinds of fun things to do, like fishing, doing races, talking to various NPCs. You know, they're fun. They don't really do anything in terms of taking you on epic quests, except a couple of them. The Bilbo's birthday one is actually really fun because it's about what happened when Bilbo left. What kind of stories was the Shire telling about Bilbo after he left and went to live with Elrond in Rivendell? And it's really good. So definitely something you want to check out if you ever get into the game. And you always find lots of people at the festivals. Generally, for the most part, most of the festival content happens in low-level areas, so you don't have to be max level to do most of them. The Bilbo's birthday has an epilogue they put in a couple of years ago that actually you need to go to a newer place in-game to go there. Hang on here. A player had a question. So you might hear that ding in the background. That's somebody sending me a whisper in game. I might actually turn that off. Turn the sound off anyway. Yeah. So it doesn't interrupt us. You'll probably hear some chatter in the background. That's actually the ambient sounds of the game. And that's good. I mean, it's a little something in the background. All right. So festivals and events. Again, the Spring Festival is on right now until I believe April 13th. And it's a lot of fun. There's some races, some beautiful cosmetics that you can earn every year. And they make it so that you can go back and get the old cosmetics pretty easily. And the old mounts, well, you gotta pay for them. One of the other fun things you can do in Lord of the Rings Online, we have player housing. This is basically where your character owns a house and you can decorate it. This is kind of like decorating your room in Animal Crossing. Topical. Okay, there are two main kinds of housing in LOTRO. For many years, we had what is now referred to as classic housing. It's where you get a house in an area that's either based on your original elves, dwarves, the men, or the hobbits. And all housing is based on identical instance neighborhoods, so there's not like one huge city-sized neighborhood and you get lost finding your way. They're all small housing instances, and I can actually show you the map of a couple of them so you can have an idea of what they look like. So let me pull up a map here in-game, and then I'll switch over to the game for just a second. Boop. All right. So this is the map of the Breland housing instance. And each one, they're like different neighborhoods, and they look exactly like this, right? They all have the same streets. They all have the same houses. Generally, housing instances have three kinds of houses. They have a small personal house, they have a larger personal house, and they have what's called a kinship house. Let me go back to this so I can see my slide. The slides are awesome. And housing can be decorated through a series of hooks. And these hooks are things that you can turn on and turn off that, you know, when you turn them on, you see these colored blocks all over the place. And then you can decide who has access to changing them around, because you can set it by default, only you can do stuff with it. But if you give permission to other people who aren't on your account, let's say, you know, you have a play buddy, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, just really good friend that you just like to play together, You can give them their characters permission to, you know, mess with your house. And you can lock them out of... People can look at the outside of your house. They just can't go in unless you unlock that permission. As I mentioned, classic housing is based on the 4 original races of the game. They're located near Kellendim, which is the Elven starting area. Thorin's Gate, which is the Dwarf starting area. Bree, hello Bree, the men. And Mickle Delving, which is where, of course, the Hobbits start out. You buy it with in-game gold, and you can only currently have 1 personal house per account per server. So if I have a house on Langeval, I have a Hobbit house as my personal house. Over on Crick Hollow, that personal house is an elf house. And you're a renter, you don't own your house, you have to pay a weekly upkeep. You can either pay with in-game gold, or if you feel like it, Mithril coin. And you can pay that like 6 months in advance. Like you can decide, I don't want to have to worry about this for another 6 months, and move the slider over, and it will basically say, okay, I'm not doing my housing again until such and such a time. Then after that time, you'll get a message saying, hey, pay your upkeep. You know, you get, you know, nagged by the landlord. And if it goes even longer, it will basically take your stuff, put it away in what's called an escrow broker, and then you have to pay to get your stuff back. If you wait long enough on that, your stuff eventually will get removed from the account, from the world. So you could lose your house if you don't keep paying for it. And we're just going over this in basic terms. There is a housing menu option available on both the character screen, which we'll show you next session, which will be Wednesday, and also through the main menu of the game, where you can go and you can update your permissions. You can update, do your maintenance and whatnot, and you can also see which houses you own. I said houses plural, but can you only have 1 per account per server? Yes and no. A couple of years ago, more like 4 or 5 years ago, they came out with something called premium housing. This is more of a game monetization thing than a housing thing. It is lucrative for Standing Stone Games to have this. And what they did is they said, hey, we're going to Gondor. People want some new options for housing. So they opened up housing on the Cape of Belfalas, saying, okay, all these people went to Minas Tirith, or, you know, the refugees elsewhere. They went to Dol Amroth. So we've got all these houses that are available, you know. So what they did is, that's the story as to why suddenly there's houses in Gondor for you. Premium housing is done differently. You can't buy it with in-game gold. You have to buy it with housing writs, which you buy off the LOTRO store, or with Mithril coin, which you also buy off the LOTRO store. So these are a cash value sort of thing. I mean, you could grind enough LOTRO points to buy your housing writs or buy your Mithril coin without spending real money, but the actual goal for Standing Stone is for people to shell out real money to buy points, to buy the coins, because this is a cash cow for them. The reason why people might want to do this is a couple things. Is if you're a VIP or a lifetime subscriber, you don't have to pay upkeep for your house. They are actually rather expensive in terms of upkeep and to buy to begin with. And the other thing is, unlike the classic housing, you can buy as many as you want. The only restriction is you can only buy 1 kinship house. And a kinship, there are levels of, you know, achievement in kinships. It's basically, if your kin is 3 months old, you can buy a house for the entire kinship to work with. And you can only buy a single kinship house for the entire kin. That's just the way it is. And you can only have either 1 in classic or 1 in premium. Make up your mind which one you want. The other main difference between classic and premium housing is there are far more housing hooks to decorate in the premium housing. That's one of the incentives they built into the system to kind of get people to buy, you know, just buy into it. You can decorate your house with things you acquire in questing. You can get decorations from crafting. You can craft some of them. A lot of them come from festivals. You can do certain deeds to get housing decorations, and there's some you could buy straight up in the LOTRO store. Some decorations you can only get by doing high-end content, like endgame raids or whatever, and you can't get them anywhere else. You can't trade them necessarily. A lot of decorations you can trade from account to account, nobody cares. Some of them will be bound to account or bound to character, which means only you can have that. You can put it down on any housing instance that you have access to decorating. Like, let's say a friend of mine gives me permission to decorate on their account, or on their house. I could go ahead and do that. And that's fine. There are things in place to prevent somebody from stealing your decorations. If it's bound to your account, they can remove your decoration from their house, but when they do, it goes back to you. So they can't steal your stuff. It's really cool. You can also get storage through your housing options. However, it is shared amongst a player's various properties. You don't get, like, I buy a premium house here, I get a box to store stuff in, and then I buy the second premium house, I get you don't get a second box. It's the same box. So that is one thing, and it also goes to your kinship house, uses the same storage. So housing is really cool. For myself, I typically wind up having a personal house, a premium house, and a kinship house. And if I feel like, I haven't actually felt the need to buy a second personal house. And when you buy a house of any kind, or are part of a kinship that has a kin house, you will get a travel skill to that housing instance. And that travel skill you could put on your bar, which means you can then go, travel there however often it will. By default, other than your personal premium house, the Belfula's house, all of those have an hour-long cooldown. However, there are things that you can get to unlock it to make it a shorter time frame. And a lot of people will do that. I'm lazy and I don't mind. Alright, so let's see what else we've got for you. That's housing in a nutshell. Now, we can demonstrate housing a little bit, but I have a special guest, and I don't want to make her wait too much longer. Hi, TD girl. All right. Cosmetics are another big secondary gameplay loop for LOTRO. Basically, you can play dress-up Barbie with your characters to a lot of extent. You get certain number of what are called outfit slots, so you can, have a certain number up to, how many? Up to 8 total outfits that you can have for your character. You can also just leave your character wearing the gear they pick up in game or have equipped, but a lot of this stuff doesn't look as awesome as the cosmetics. Here, get up here. Come on. Here, get up here. He's being a butthead. And I can actually show you a little bit about that since we do have the game available. Alright, so let's say you're looking at your character. This is what she is actually wearing. This is her equipped gear. And then you can go to Cosmetic Outfits. Click the little tab, it says Cosmetic Outfits. And it will start with showing you what your character's actually wearing. And then you can go down and, unlock up to 8 slots. Everybody has a maximum of 8, no matter who you are. As you see, there's an option for the LOTRO store to get some cosmetics. I think some might be on sale this week too. Could be wrong. And then let's say we're going to pick an outfit. We're going to pick this one. This is what my is. Let me move this around. See, this is what my character is currently, supposed to look like. You can match gear to each slot. You can match weapons to a certain extent. One thing is there are some restrictions on what weapons can go where. Unlike a lot of other games, however, one really cool thing about the LOTRO cosmetic armor system, or cosmetic outfit system, is it doesn't matter what kind of gear it is. Like, heavy armor versus light armor. Like, a minstrel who can only wear light armor can't equip a piece of heavy armor, but they can cosmetically equip it. So they can look like they're wearing heavy armor, but not actually be wearing heavy armor. It's really cool. And there are some weapon restrictions, like you can't cosmetically equip a two-handed sword when your character is wielding a one-handed sword. And you can't put a bow in if you don't have a bow, right? So this is the wardrobe system, as you can see. One of the other cool things about our system is that you can dye things. So there is a wardrobe available that you can access at your at any vault keeper. I don't have a vault keeper handy. And that wardrobe system is really cool in that once you put something in the wardrobe system, you can conceivably delete that item from your inventory to save space. But the caution is, if you delete that item from the wardrobe and you've deleted the original that you put into the wardrobe, you can't put it back into the wardrobe. And the game will actually warn you if you're about to do that. So there's really cool things that you can do with the outfit system. So that's what I made my character look like for St. Patrick's Day. And it tells you the items that you have equipped, but it doesn't tell you what color they are. Normally, if you look at a piece of gear in your inventory, which, do I have a piece of gear in my inventory? Yeah, right here. That's a cosmetic piece of armor. Doesn't help. Okay, we'll take this. This is a leather jacket. It'll tell you what the dye is. You can dye stuff and change the color. Now, pro tip here. This is the pro tip. Put the item in your wardrobe first and then dye it. The reason is you can store multiple dyes on a single item in the wardrobe, but if you dye the original, then the original changes colors. And so I have other outfits this character has made. Oh, look at, no, we want this. No, we want this one. No. Oh no, TD, I took the purple one out. Oh no. Aha. That is the TD uniform. My friend here, who you can see on stage, who will be performing for us here in a little bit, wears an outfit that looks like this. And there is, I've seen her wear this red variant. She's currently wearing, oh, TD, you are. Oh no, you're going naked. So you can see TD is changing her outfit on stage, as you all can see. So there's a red one, there's a purple one, there's a white one. But TD wears what TD wants, and that's all good. And you can just change what your character is wearing simply by doing something like this. Boop. There you go. But this is the one I normally wear when I visit TD, unless I feel like trolling her by wearing her groupie outfit. And that's all good. So that's the cosmetic armor system, for the most part. Let's go back to the slide. There are three, well, there's several different cosmetic blogs out there. There's cosmeticlotro.com. Let me link them in chat. My good and dear friend Nathrian, who I got to see in real life during his first visit to Standing Stone Games, does Material Middle-earth.blogspot.com. And then finally, our good and dear friend Fibrojetta is also all up in the business of cosmetic outfits, so he also has a thing there. So there's a lot of folks who do cosmetic outfits, and will show how they make them, what items they use to create the outfit, what dyes they use. You can acquire dyes either by a scholar who can craft many dyes. Some of them are only available during festivals, and some can only be purchased through the LOTRO store or for Mithril Coin. Cosmetics are really cool because, quite frankly, a lot of the armors that come into game like that you equip look kind of naff. To quote the Brits, it's a bit naff. They're not all that awesome. Back in the day, the game didn't have a cosmetic set, and we were all like, ugh. It was my character was so ugly back in 2007. I'm glad they invented the wardrobe system, and it's really good. It's not the most flexible wardrobe system on the planet, but one of the benefits, I mean, it's in terms of how much of a piece of item you can dye, it's actually really cool. We kind of showed this. Let me actually go back to the game for a second. I'm going to show you something really cool. And this will be more visible if I use the... this is the special cosmetic wardrobe or dressing room plugin that makes your character look bigger, and it's really cool. But what you can do is you can preview what something will look like, right? So I just clicked on the actual equipped piece of armor my character is wearing, and let's say I want to change a color on it. So you notice only certain bits of that outfit change color, and that's by design. Some other games will let you do, let me see what it looks like in Arid Blue and Blue. That's one of my things. I'm a big proponent of Arid Blue and Blue. So that's what it looks like if it's set to dye to match my character's gloves and boots. So Arid Blue and Blue is the best. Some items will not dye. If you notice it says shoulder color won't dye, it's because this blue piece of shoulder armor is from a set that doesn't dye. But most of those are few and far in between. They're generally special, exclusive armor sets that you can only get in certain ways. But you can, you know, basically preview anything. Oh my god, that's terrible. And one of the differences between the dressing room here, that you're previewing stuff, and then the wardrobe, which you can actually sort. You can sort the wardrobe by name. Like if you have a lot of stuff there and you can't find what you're looking for, you type in some letters, it will then search by name. You can also search by color. So if you know that you want to wear something in Arid Blue and Blue, you tell it, show me all the pieces that are Arid Blue and Blue. And you can also filter that by what slot they fit in. Like, you know, chest piece, or whether it's an armor chest piece or a cosmetic chest piece. Because there are two different sets of armors. There's some items that are made in the game that are strictly cosmetic. They offer you no gameplay advantage, no stats, no nothing. They're just there for looks, and then you can decorate them, you know, however. So this is one advantage of the LOTRO cosmetic system versus, say, World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, you can't dye anything, and also with World of Warcraft, you can't equip things that your class can't use, which basically means this is a benefit to us, that we can equip stuff that our class normally couldn't equip, and it's really cool. So we can look cool while not actually having cool-looking armor on our characters. It's really neat. All right, back to the slides. Next slide, where are we? All right, boom. Collections, we're going to go back into the game for this one. Collections are a system where you can keep track of certain things, like there are 4 primary collections going on right now: pets, mounts, emotes, and stable masters. The first 3 of those can be sorted. We showed you the stable master map last week. We'll take a look at it again this time. The first 3 also have a really small preview window, so you can see like, what does the pet look like? What does the mount look like? What does the emote look like? So it's a small preview window, and then it'll give you some details on how do you acquire that item, such as, oh, this pet you can only get during the Spring Festival, or it can only be bought in the LOTRO store. Lore Masters have pets and war steeds. Every character above level 75 can acquire a war steed. They don't appear in this system. So let's take a quick look at the collections. Let me pull them up here real quick. And the default key to get into collections is Shift C. And you can make this window as big as you'd like. And if you notice, this is the pets. The ones that you have will be highlighted that you can obviously see, oh, I have these. The ones you don't have are grayed out. You can filter by whether you have it, whether you need it, is it available in the store, or do you have to earn it somehow? Now, some pets, for example, you can only earn by playing certain content in-game, like Faroth here, is only available by doing content during the, well, it said the 10-year anniversary event. What it means is the 10th year of the anniversary event, because every year they add on more stuff for you to do. It's like this hedgehog down here is only available through bartering through the current Spring Festival. So if you really like hedgehogs, now's the time to get into game, earn your spring leaves in the Spring Festival, and buy you a hedgehog. And then you can do a show all, which will basically remove all of those. This also works for mounts, as you can see. Here's the Festive Azure horse, and you can spin them around, but you can't make them bigger. You can't, like, zoom in or out. That makes the game zoom in or out. It's annoying. And so it just gives you an idea of what they look like. Players have asked for a bigger preview window, but Standing Stone has not been able to make that happen. You can also check out steeds that you don't have available in the Summer Festival. I don't have that one. Again, some horses, for example, the ones that are generally labeled prized, you can only get the prized ones if you are a kindred reputation, the max level reputation, with various factions. And they're generally pretty good looking horses. This is one I really want to get, and I'm not kindred with the Dunlendings. There's also emotes. Emotes are awesome. You can do all kinds of fun emotes. Again, some can only be earned by doing certain content. Some can be purchased straight up from the LOTRO store. There's actually one that's missing. There's a Dance Hobbit 3 that only certain hobbits got once upon a time. Some of them require that you do certain festival content, like, frequently. Like, you have to, like, the ones involving chickens tend to only be available from the Hobnanigans. Hobnanigans is basically chicken hockey. And there is a Hobnanigans event every month. So, basically, there's a lot of these. They are, by the way, these collections of emotes and pets and horses, mounts, because a horse is a mount, but a mount doesn't have to be a horse. They are only per character. The only time something would be unlocked account-wide is if it was a certain purchase that specifically denoted that it was account-wide, or a certain gift. Like every year for Extra Life, we tend to wind up giving away a couple of titles and whatnot, and those are generally account-wide. So there's a thing. The final bit of the collections is the Stable Master map, and we showed you this last time. And this is, it'll tell you which Stable Masters you've unlocked. And again, you can travel to one that you already know through Mythical. Well, you can travel to either ones you've known or haven't discovered yet through Mythical Coin. It's 2 coin to go to a place you already know. And for a place you don't know, it's 5 coins. But this basically, and it will also tell you how many you have unlocked out of the entire game. There is no specific deed that I'm aware of for unlocking all of them. So collections are cool. And as you see, if you notice below my character here, I have a whole bunch of emotes set up. And they will be for a piece of upcoming content. Because one of the things we like to do is when people play music is to dance. Hi, kitty. Roleplay is definitely a thing in Lord of the Rings Online, and this is where people are not only playing the game to level up and defeat the forces of Sauron, they're actually immersing themselves in a character. They're not just playing, I created a character called Phoenix. Well, Phoenix isn't an in-character name. I could create a character that, you know, I pick a name that is relevant to the race that it is. Like I pick a Hobbit-style name or an Elven name, if it's available. Now, you can roleplay on any of the servers. No one is saying you can't roleplay on any of the servers. However, there are 3 servers that are roleplay encouraged. It's where you're going to find the most roleplayers if you want other people to roleplay with. They are the EU server Laurelin, which is English roleplay primarily. There's Langeval, which is the server I'm on right now, also English. And Gwahir is a German language role-playing server. The main differences between the 3, besides the obvious language, is Laurelin is not... You notice where I say encouraged versus enforced? Basically, what it means is on Laurelin, they're a little bit stricter on character names. If you come up with a character name that is clearly out of canon, like, you know, me kill hobbits or something like that, which I'm sure somebody's tried to come up with a name like that, or, you know, no heals for you. That's not in character. That's not a real name for a person in Middle-earth. So it's more likely that somebody on Laurelin is going to report your name for being out of theme. And it's more possible that Standing Stone Games will exercise their right to force you to rename your character. And I don't know how there's a horse in the lore hall, but there apparently is a horse in the lore hall. So if somebody's role-playing, how do you tell that somebody is role-playing? Besides, I mean, you could just watch and see what they're saying. But if you turn names on, and you turn RP on, actually, I am not role-playing. You have to actually set yourself to be role-playing. I know, I honestly forgot how to do that. Okay, that was fun. I apologize. It looks like the stream did drop. I'm not sure if Twitch is having difficulty or if my system is having difficulty. It's not a case where I ran out of space to save the stream. So, I apologize. So, where did we leave off? I want to pick up where I left off. TD Growl didn't do it. Oh, kitty. Alright. So what was I talking about when it crashed? Hang on. Somebody in chat, help me out here. Turning on roleplay. Phew. So I didn't lose a lot. Whew. That would have been bad. However, one thing I am going to, speaking of turning things on and off, I'm going to turn off the light. Oh my god. Bright lights, big city. Okay. So turning roleplay on is as simple as /RP on. However, I can't see that I'm roleplaying. My title doesn't change color. TD, can you do me a favor here and turn one of the TDs, do /RP on, /RP space on for just a moment so we can see your nameplate switch color. See, there we go. TD Growl is now, her nameplate is white. So she's now officially role-playing. You can turn it off at your convenience, my dear. And you just do RP space off to turn it off. Thank you. I'm going to turn nameplates off in general because it obscures the TDs. Alright, back to our slides of doom, chaos, and destruction. So, basically, the naming conventions, again, if you're on Laurelin, you're going to want to try your best to find a name that's in character for the race that you're playing. And this is how the character select screen, the character generation system, can help you pick a name for your character. Me, I'm not quite that much of a purist. My characters are generic fantasy ones, except a couple of them are, you know, I have the name Phoenix on all the North American and the 2 legendary servers because that's my nickname. I like it. The cosmetic system we just discussed is frequently used in this system. And for things like, you know, if you're role-playing in the Prancing Pony, you're going to be dressed up in something that's appropriate for the Prancing Pony. Or if you're an elf, you're going to wear this. Or if you're a hobbit, you're going to wear that. Characters are frequently set to walking, which is if you have your num lock key turned off, the insert key becomes your walk key. The insert key is also how you change speed on a war steed, if you didn't know that. So you can generally tell if somebody's role-playing not only by their nameplate, but by the fact their character is walking. Sometimes you'll see people walk anyway, especially on to social events, because they don't want to be seen to be running all over the place. And there are especially role-playing events that are also available. There's some schedules out there. You do a bit of Googling or look on the LOTRO forums under the player events subforum, and there will be places for you to see that there are new events, and they'll generally tell you what's expected. Like, this is an elven event here in, you know, in Kellendim or in Rivendell or whatever, but a lot of them are open to whoever wants to show up. You just role play, get yourself into the mindset of who your character is, and then you act, use the emote commands, to basically demonstrate what your character is saying and doing at that time. There are kinships that are solely focused on roleplay, so definitely go Googling or hit up the forums to find out who they are. And again, there's a lot of creative uses of emotes to help with the roleplay. Like if you say, "Hey, I toasted this person," and if you have the /toast emote unlocked, you can then do /toast in time. Like you say your bit, and then you say, I give a toast to so and so, and then you'll see your character taking a swig and then throwing the mug down on the floor. That's the toast emote. Next up, TD's getting ready. This is gonna be so cool. Okay. Any character in the game can play music. It's through the /music command. However, you have to be proficient in the instrument you want to play. By default, the only class that gets access to all of the instruments without jumping through hoops to get them are minstrels. Because, hello, they're minstrels, right? However, minstrels can also mentor other classes, as I mentioned here, conscribe these scrolls, or live mentor somebody in an instrument. Like, our band here that you've seen on stage, they're all hunters. So they had to have somebody mentor them in other instruments so they could play them. Once you type /music in your chat window, you can either play via notes on your keyboard, like 1 through 8, and then Control 1 through 8 and Shift 1 through 8, 3 octaves, or you can do /play and the name of a file that's a .abc file via the play command. Right. However, there are lessons on how to play music from folks like the Lonely Mountain Band. I'm not volunteering you, TD, but TD is also an excellent teacher on how to use the music system. You can buy instruments for gold at bards. You can barter some at festivals. You can buy some with LOTRO points in the in-game store. We also occasionally raffle some off on the official LOTRO channel, twitch.tv/LOTROstream, during major events, like Weatherstock, Winterstock, whatnot. Again, this is available to all players regardless of class. Minstrels have the easiest access to those. You can play instruments while you're mounted, but you cannot move other than spinning your character around in place. Most instruments have 3 octaves of notes that you can play. Multiple players or a single multi-boxing player can create whole bands to perform. I don't know who that could be, TD Growl. There are some plugins that you can add to the game that are made by players that you can help to sync up your performances, such as Songbook is the big one, and Poetical is an additional plugin you can install if you want to have your character sing lyrics in time with the song. It's really cool. Like, there is a big trade in the music community for taking existing songs that we know in real life and making, you know, Lord of the Rings flavored lyrics for them. I myself am guilty of taking a few songs from They Might Be Giants and making LOTRO versions of them. I haven't performed them yet because I haven't set all that stuff up. But the music community in LOTRO is very vibrant. They are available on every server, some more than others. Lantraval, I think, is the home, the #1 home of music in LOTRO. But I would argue that Crick Hollow and Laurelin are also, and Belagear, are the 4 main ones that you will find. But, of course, our good friend TD came from Brandywine, so it goes to show. Most servers host regular performances on a weekly, monthly, or yearly basis, annual basis, many of which are shown on the calendar available on LOTROartist.com. And let me copy pasta that one into chat. Like, I know all of you already know that site, but I'm putting it into the chat for the purposes of the stream. Several kinships host major events every year, such as Weatherstock, Winterstock, Shirefest, Winterfest, A Day in the Greenfields, and the Gondaman Rock Night, Hell Night, whatever. There's all kinds of concerts. The music style ranges from beautiful pieces of classical music, straight up rock and roll. Some of them, the big music festivals like Weatherstock, is every band will have bring something different to the table. So, that being said, as you have seen, we have a special guest. One thing you do want to do, let me switch back to the game for a second, is when you are going to listen to a band, you want to pull up your options, and you're going to want to turn music volume all the way down, because that will drown out, that will silence the zone music around you. Now, here in the Lore Hall of Bree, you're still going to hear a lot of that. I generally keep it down pretty quiet. I also tend to turn down combat sounds and the user interface. So you're not going to hear, oh man, the artifacts are back. I'll just have to deal with it. You turn off the user interface so that if somebody sends you a private message, it doesn't go ding in the background, because again, that overrides the music. So this is kind of what I like it to be. Sound effects are from things like emotes. Some emotes have sounds with them, and I have turned some of them off for streaming concert purposes because I find them to be very distracting. Like the bubble pipe is a certain emote where your character has a pipe and is blowing bubbles out of it. Really cute, but it's really noisy. So for me, it distracts the concert. And then you just turn your player music volume to what suits you. I'm going to max it out. And now, as I mentioned, we have a special musical guest. And, TD, if you'd be so kind, my friend, we have a concert. And TD has brought T12. It's going to play a couple of things for us. That was by Steely Dan, which one of the things you can do is import real-life music. However, for those of us who stream it, we generally wind up getting a little note from YouTube saying, this is copyright material, you can't monetize this video. I'm like, okay. There are also folks in the music community who create completely original pieces of music. They are real musicians. In fact, the founder of the Lonely Mountain Band, Mr. John D. Bartolo, is a real-life musician. I've seen him perform at the Morgan Library in New York City back in May. Thank you, TD. You can find TD playing on many of the servers all over LOTRO. I am personally familiar with their Sunday night concerts around 10 o'clock, 10:30 Eastern / server time outside the Prancing Pony on Landreval. TD, feel free in chat to mention where else you play on the regular, because I am not your keeper. I don't know where you play all the time. So thank you for that, TD, our very special guest. And let me do the clicky. We're going to curtsy because I can curtsy. Everybody can curtsy. So thank you so much for that. You like to hang out at the south gate of Bree? That's also a good place. Actually, that's where I first found TD for the very first time, when TD was only a 3-person band and was playing back to back. So it was kind of like this spiky triangle of music. It was really cool. And there are various instruments, and there are a lot of details about how to play in the music system on the wiki, lotro-wiki.com/index-whatever/music, as you might expect. So TD, I love you to bits and bits, but I need to switch servers for the next couple of slides because I don't have those pieces of content unlocked on this one. So I will wave farewell for now. Say hi to my cat. Everybody say hi to Thiefy. So let me switch servers here real quick. And there are a lot of kinships whose primary focus is the music community and being part of that. One of the big ones, and I'm going to do a slight self-promotion here, is the Lonely Mountain Band, as I mentioned before. Full disclosure, I am a member of the Lonely Mountain Band, and next week I get promoted to be an officer. So I'm a bit scared about that. Where are you? Come here. Speaking of music, loud and obnoxious kitty. Hello, kitty. He looks far grumpier than he actually is. He just has a grumpy cat look. As I mentioned to our new visitor, Ven Rusher, all of the quest instances and skirmishes are open to play now through April 30th. One of the things I'm going to do while I'm on the login screen here is to adjust my audio again. And I'm going to pull up on this character. This is my main character in the game. I've had her since April of 2007. So, she's my favorite. Look at toe beans. My kitty's got toe beans. Alright. However, she's clear across the map from where I need her to be. So, you're going to come on a journey with me. And then we will go into what we're going to play next. This character just completed the epic questline. I'm going to open my Hobbit present because it's going to annoy me if I don't. Alright, we are going home. I'm going to go... We're going to have to start with Bree, because I don't have a swift travel to Riven, to where I'm going here. Secrets, Precious? What are we going to do? This will be fun. Alright. This is the Prancing Pony, but we need to go someplace else for what we're about to do. How I'd mentioned earlier, there were festivals, so we're not going to a festival. However, when festivals are activated, you can go to the Stable Masters here in the main capitals cities. In this case, here in the west side of Bree, there's a swift travel to the Breeland Festival grounds. When there's something going on primarily in the Shire, there'll be a swift steed sometimes to the party tree. Whoa. Stop running into things, you silly. Come on, back up. There we go. Mr. Rosewood, can you kindly... You can be of service by sending me to Mickle Delving. See, that character there with him stabs a lot, that name would not fly on Laurelin. Somebody would be like, nope, this is not a proper role-playing name. You can't have that. And he'd probably get reported by the beautiful folks on the server. Anyway, where are we going, folks? What is going on here? What are we doing in the Shire? Which, by the way, the Shire is just so beautiful. I love it to bits and bits. Even though I primarily play an elf and I love elven stuff to bits and bits, the Shire is the Shire, right? It's one thing I love about LOTRO is they did the Shire right. And you can see the party tree in the distance from here, but we're not going to the party tree. We're going to this little farm down here because there's something you can do at this farm. Does it have something to do with the patch of flowers? No. Some of these chickens have names, and there's a rooster. Wait! Why does this chicken have a quest ring over his head? Shire home of the rats. That's true, Ranger. Hello. Alright. What are we talking to chickens for? Because you can play a chicken in Lord of the Rings Online. For realsies. So chicken play is a thing in Lord of the Rings Online. It is not the favorite thing of our executive producer, Several. And he's not a big fan of chicken play, but he recognizes that the players love it. So chicken play is available to everybody. It starts here at Sanson's farm in the Shire. There are some, when you can become a level 1 unprotected, very tasty chicken. And you'll get a couple of skills that will help you survive in the wild. There are a series of quest chains that you can do as a chicken that will help you, unlock the ability to go anywhere. Because the first bunch of quests as a chicken are timed, so you have to complete them in a certain amount of time or else you fail the quest. And as you are ranging further and further afield from the Shire, the timer keeps going up and up. Once you unlock a certain level of these quests, you unlock something called free range, which means you can jump in as a chicken and go for as long as you want. Some people have made it an event to go to, for example, Minas Tirith as a chicken. If you survive, you then go up to the top of Minas Tirith and jump off the pier. You get a title called Lord or Lady of the Wings. They recently, when the Vales of Anduin came out into the game as a playable area, they added a new quest to let you go to the Lonely Mountain. For many years, there have been talk of trying to set up a thing where you could run a chicken into the Crack of Doom. As of yet, while you can go to the Crack of Doom, sort of, you can't actually get into the Sammath Nar yet. I've been personally bugging the folks who make LOTRO to make that a thing. We get close to it, but we can't actually throw ourselves into the Crack of Doom yet. There are things called chicken runs, which is a chicken run to select your destination. Some of them do the quests to get the titles. Some of them just decide to have a fun event and just say, okay, we're going to take people to the Mount Doom today. And then they organize an event. Notable chicken players who do a lot of event organizing or know a lot of the tricks of the trade, I'll refer you to Rosalind. My good and dear friend Hologro, whom I've known for many years and is also a good friend of Signum University. big follower, and is generally the person who, when Professor Corey wants to go on a chicken run, Hologro is the one who leads the run. Our friends Erithart, who is my predecessor as the Twitch director of Signum, and finally Mr. Upulu Felgar, who has also set himself various challenges to try to do these very dangerous chicken runs solo. Because a lot of these times, like Rosalind, Hologro, and Erithart would do them, but they would have, like, people with them. Like, you could have people running around the chickens and, like, killing all the bad guys around them, so they don't have to use their skills to survive. I personally, the furthest I've ever really gotten is to... I took a chicken solo to Rivendell, because there's a quest to go see Aragorn's horse Rohirrim up there. And we were challenged by Professor Jay Clayton of Vanderbilt University, who teaches a class about remediation of materials into multiple mediums, such as making Lord of the Rings into a movie, or, you know, turning this into a play, or how, you know, whatever changes you have to make it into this other medium. And he teaches the classes primarily because he likes to play Lord of the Rings online. And in fact, he ran a kinship, or his organization ran a kinship. They called themselves the Corsarum. They're on Landreval. They also have a band in the music system who play at a lot of the major festivals called the Remediators. And they're really good. So that's kind of how it all ties together. But Professor Clayton said, nah, I don't think anybody's going to be able to get to the Shire solo. I'm like, yeah, watch me. First try. So that's chicken play. This is available to all players. There is another one that's not available to all players. It's called horseplay. It's only available to players who purchased the Riders of Rohan Legendary Edition expansion back in 2012. It starts with a quest item auto-bestowed upon character creation for every character on your account. And you become a horse. A level 75 horse. And there's some rewards for doing so. And I just realized I just used my teleport to Bree. So we are going to... We're going to kind of cheat. We're going to go to the court of Lothlorien for just a second so I can go to Mordor so I can go back to Bree. Or, you know what? We're not even going to do all that. We're just going to go back to Mickle Delving and go to Bree from there. Unless I have a map to the Hengstacer Farms. I do not have a map to the Hengstacer Farms. Alright, we're going to take a little bit of a ride, because I want to show you what happens. So, if you have that unlocked on your account, but again, it's not a very large number of accounts that do. And I realize you can't see the game. So, you know what? Here, you can follow along with me. Was that kinship named the Order of the Red Panda? Because that's funny. Because Red Panda is the nickname of one of our marketing team people. Johnny Liu, aka SSG Red Panda. Who's also a really cool dude. Tells you where all the good snacks are.
How do you do?
Alright, we are going to go back to West Bree. Because I just remembered that there is a quick way to get to the Hengstacer Farm while we're here. We're going to go to the festival grounds. So this is the festival grounds. This is where, by the way, the festival is ongoing right here. There's some players about. Not as many as would be later in the day, because even though the world is upside down right at the moment, there are still folks who are at work, and I realize this is during the middle of the day for them, so it's all good. However, it's a shortcut to where we're going. So once you play through all the quests for the Descendant, it's called Discovering the Descendant. This was something that they had come out with right before Riders of Rohan to kind of lead you into learning about the Mirrors. Because we find out this horse is one of the Mirrors. And you start off in Coombe. And you do a bunch of quests, and eventually the descendant is brought up here to this farm. This is where most players will buy their first steeds in the game. But you go over here and you can talk to the horse. Well, I actually can't talk to the horse. That's so sad. But at some point, you see this horse is obviously not the same as a regular riding steed, because let's compare. Come on, let's compare a regular riding steed to the horse. Look at that horse. That one's much more powerful. It's got a better mane, too. And then once you've unlocked all of the quests, which you generally get from Eogar over here, Eogar, the horse master.
Stay a moment.
You get one of these quests. So the horse looks a little bit in need of a run. And notice it suddenly has, this is the session play quest ring. It's a quest ring with a little filigree around it. And then suddenly I can be a horse. Wow, really? Rumpelstiltskin? That's awesome. I almost read that wrong, Nettlebrew. Oh no, my client just crashed. That's awful. Come on. Don't do this to me, Lotro. Oh, it said it was not responding. Lotro's being very confused right now. Let's see if this works. I'm suddenly in the Lone Lands, and I'm a horse! Now, one of the things is when you're doing chicken play or horse play, first of all, until you unlock unlimited roaming, you will have a timer here that will tell you what's going on. Now, one of the things about being either a chicken or a horse is that you can't interact with the rest of the game. Like, you can't be in chat channels. You can't like send, I don't think anybody can send me a tell. Because if you notice, in my vitals up here in the upper left-hand corner, you can see my name. It has the little tilde in front of it. And so I can basically run around and talk to various horses. Just as you're a chicken, you wind up talking to various other chickens. And you notice I have a couple of skills on my skill bar. Chickens have them too. And they basically let you do certain things. Like there is one that's called a rearing stomp, which is an attack. And then you can kick something behind you. And then you can also do a fast run. And there's also one that if you get stunned by something, it helps you shake those off. So the fast run is like, woohoo! Warp speed! Ludicrous speed! So we're doing the Shadowfax run. So we find out through the story of this horseplay session that this is actually one of the Mares is, you know, not as awesome as Shadowfax, because no other horse in all of the game is as awesome as Shadowfax. And you'll find that a lot of things are unset from your normal thing, because obviously I've been to Oscaruth before. And it says session players can't do that. So there's a lot of things you won't be able to do while you're dressed up as a chicken or as a horse. So a horse is going to be level 75 because that was the set of how... That was basically what it was for, you know, for Rohan content. And... The chickens are level 1, so they're very vulnerable to things kicking them. At least no... Oh. Darn off, you silly boy. Hang on here, somebody's asking a question in the Discord. Let me check the pinned messages. Hang on just a second. I did forget to post something in the LOTRO 101 Discord. Pin that bad boy. Alright, back to class. Alright, let's go back to my slide for a second. There are some rewards that you can get for completing the horseplay quest line, just as there are for completing some of the chicken things. Mainly you get like a title, and then you get a special cloak, which looks really cool. Alright, and next slide. Hobbies. There are hobbies in the game, so I'm going to deliberately... well, you know what? I'm gonna actually exit out of here, leave the session. There we go. Because there's only one hobby in the game, and it's fishing. There are worse things to be doing than fishing. So, one of the things that happens when you're in a session play of any kind, whether it's a regular story session play, or you're a chicken, or you're a horse, is that you can't interact with a lot of the rest of the game. Like, you can't send people tells, they can't send tells to you. You look like you're offline to your friends. Because it's kind of like you're logged into a temporary character and it's not your own. So hobbies, you can pick them up once you leave the starting instance. And there are hobby masters available throughout the game. There's a couple in Bree. There are a couple in the Shire and whatnot. And basically, the intention originally was that there were going to be multiple hobbies in the game. Well, there isn't. So, by talking to the hobby master, you can then acquire a fishing pole from them. And then as you fish, you will fish up junk, weeds, rusty boots, whatever, dirty boots. And then you can gather certain kinds of fish in certain different places of the game. There are different locations, like you get certain fish from like Thorin's Gate. For those who were with our class and exploring Lord of the Rings the other day, that waterfall and river that we were wandering around in Thorin's Gate inside is one of the fishing spots. You can fish in a lot of places in game. As long as there seems to be open water, there's a lot of fountains you can fish in. There's actually... Okay, I'm going to do this because it's funny. There is actually a place that you go to if you're a high elf in the high elf starting instance, where it's inside the last homely house, and you can fish in it if you go back later on. It's a place that's available to anybody in-game. A lot of people didn't realize that. It's like, where is this place? And it's like, you don't get to see where it is in the last homely house. But I'm going to show you one of my favorite places to fish, because it's like, and some of us actually make a little game of, it's like, can I fish in there? Can I fish in there? Can I fish in there? And the answer is, if you see running water, the answer is going to almost always be yes. Once upon a time, when they were first previewing the Mordor content on the test server Bullroar, I went and found out that you could fish in the lava pools outside Barad-dûr. They took that out quickly because it wasn't intended to be a fishable area, but you could fish in the lava pools outside Barad-dûr. So there's this really cool place here in the last homely house. It's on the 3rd floor. And for people who play High Elves, this is where your character starts out. Once you get out of the past and wake up in the current time, you wake up in Thamsen, the Hall of Rest. Which is this very beautiful place. And they've got these 2 little ponds here. And they just look like little water things. Like, where do they come from? So, in order to fish, you have to unlock... you have to put the skill on your thing here. Alright. You go to your hobby window. This will tell you how good you're doing in terms of fishing. And what I would recommend is to equip a hobby, drag it from the panel to an available quick slot at the bottom of the screen. As you can see, there's only one hobby. Is there ever going to be another one? I would doubt it. I would be very, very skeptical if there was. Players over the years have recommended many, many, many suggestions as to what other hobbies there could be. Like a dancing hobby or something like that. So I've already dragged mine down here. You also have to equip a fishing pole. And you can get a basic one from the hobby master there. And I will equip my fishing pole. There's also ones that you can craft with woodworking. And you can, basically, it gives you a... What does it get you? It basically improves your fishing skill. So you can actually fish anywhere regardless of your fishing skill, but you will do better in places that are closer to your level. It's just the nature of the beast. You can only level up fishing 10 points every day. So you're going to fish by clicking the button, and then this happens, and you just wait, and you wait, and you wait. And then when it does that, you click the button again to reel it in, and you might get something. You might not. I mean, the animation looks the same as always. I got a 3-spined stickleback, which is a fish. You can get junk out of it. You can get fish that can be turned into housing decorations, because there are taxidermists available in a couple of places. So we're going to fish again, see what we get. There are some fountains that look like you might be able to fish in them, but you can't, and it will tell you that. You can fish in the halls of the Elven King. You can fish in the rivers outside of Dale. You can fish in any actual rivers in Mordor. I don't think there are any. And this is an old boot. And you can tell if something is useful for you or not in what you get. Generally, the things that can be turned into housing trophies, they'll actually have a thing say, take this to a taxidermist. Otherwise, it'll look like the same color of icon as these, these other pieces of task items or junk that I'm saving. Since we're on a character here, I did mention housing, and we can actually do a little bit of an exploration of housing here in a minute. However, there is a link if you want to learn all the fun stuff about fishing. There is the guide. I would also highly recommend talking to Big Ed Mustafa, an official LOTRO streamer who streams Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. He is a master of the fishing thing. So there's titles that you can earn, like Lord or Lady of the Streams, and the website there will link, what you can get, where you can go. There are some fishing quests that you can pick up that helps you, tell you where to go next. The Summer Festival is also a big fishing festival. There's a lot of fishing related quests that'll send you to Thorin's Gate, to Kellendim, and to the Shire to do various fishing to pick up certain fish, and then you turn them in it and you can barter them for things. It's really cool. So, what's next on our agenda? Hobbit presents! Alright, Hobbit presents are a thing that every account has access to. Every account can do the lower silver Hobbit present once a day, and they reset at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. There are gold presents available with better gifts, but you can only get them once a week if you are a VIP or lifetime account, or if you're willing to spend Mithril coin. So let me show you the Hobbit present UI. I've already unlocked my Hobbit present here, and I shouldn't have done that. I forgot that we had a Hobbit present thing. Alright, so you can get to Hobbit presents through your main menu. You can also decide if you want to give it a keybind. I'm not that, not... So this is what it looks like. This is actually the revamped Hobbit presents. Back in the day, it was very likely that you'd get something better on a silver roll than a gold roll. They revamped the system last year and made it so that, by definition, you're supposed to get something better on a gold roll than on a silver roll. And now it actually tells you what to expect. You're not going to get this specific thing, but it gives you an idea of what you can expect for that kind of roll. So the lower rolls, and it goes by, as you notice, it goes by, white, light yellow, purple, cyan, and then gold, kind of like how the gear improves over in quality. So the way it works is it rotates on a D100. Let me go back to my slides here. Actually, let me move this over here. And I'll move the slide so I can see my slide. So you don't need to... Actually, let's let you see the slide too, now that you can see the thing. So there are 5 tiers of rewards, and then you get a randomly selected gift from that tier within the loot table of that tier. And what this means is they roll a 100-sided die. It's actually not even a die. It's a random number generator, 1 through 100. Now, it's not where tier 1 is 1 to 20, tier 2 is 20 to 40, tier 3 is 40 to 60. It's not quite like that. The tiers are set based on the higher numbers, the ones that are always theoretically harder to roll, like 90 plus will be in the last 2 tiers. Like 91 to 95 or whatever will be like the cyan. I don't know the exact numbers. Standing Stone's other game, Dungeons & Dragons Online, actually will tell you which numbers correspond to which tiers. So each tier down the list is an increased rarity. Again, all accounts get a free silver roll every day. Gold get a free gold roll, or VIPs get a free gold roll once a week. And it resets at 3 a.m. Eastern every Thursday. There's always a little bit of waffling when daylight savings comes about in the US. Not in everywhere else. Any account, if you wanted to throw Mithril coin at it, can buy rolls, as many as you want. However, it's like a slot machine. And buyer beware. It's like gambling. Nothing in these are actual gear. Even though it says gear, the only gear it's talking about is certain armor that's nowhere. It's not as good as raid armor. It's not going to be like a pay-to-win situation. You can get a couple of things for each roll that might help a little bit, but unless you throw down some serious money, you're not going to get anything really good out of it. About the best gift you could get out of it is on a gold roll, you can wind up winning 200 Mithril coin. Once in a great while, let's see. Yeah, items given through gold rolls are intended to be better than items in silver rolls. Now, if you roll poorly on a gold roll, but you roll really well on a silver roll, you might get something you personally find more valuable. Like, a starlit crystal is always going to be more valuable than dwarf candles, which is one of the things you can get. Sticky got! 200 Mithril coins on a gold one recently. Good job. Those are very rare, which ironically happened recently during the winter thing. So most items and Hobbit presents are available by other means elsewhere in the game. Like, you can get Virtue XP with every Hobbit present roll, whether, you know, it's through Mithril coin or your regular daily or weekly roll. You will get a certain amount of Virtue XP that you can then, you know, spend on this character, or you can spend it on any of your other alts. And Virtue XP will help, you know, improve some of the stats of your character. So in that, it could be a little bit pay to win, but it's not much. It's not enough to really, you know, get you where you need to go. There are only a very few exclusives. Once in a while, actually this past winter, they piloted a thing where they provided additional gifts were bundled in with your daily or weekly presents, such as Yule decorations, pets, and there was even a mount during the most recent Yule festival. And they reskinned the UI so it looked festive. In fact, I think I can show you one of those. Let me switch back to the game real quick. Because I actually happen to have one in my inventory. I have this decorated winter wall item. Yeah, I got a ton of Yule decorations. But this is one of the rare things that came with one of those rolls. And this is the Virtue XP I mentioned. It's just, yeah, I apparently did a bad roll one day and I got Virtue XP. So, there's that. And you can just right-click to use it. Let me remember to put my weapon back on. One of the things about fishing is half the time a lot of us forget to... we forget to put our weapons back on, and all of a sudden our character is dying. We don't know why. Not that I've ever done that or anything. Why didn't I just go down the stairs here? Because I'm a silly person, and I'm used to the one down here. So, I think I have some in my vault. And here's the Vault Keeper, by the way. If you ever wanted to see a Vault Keeper, this is a Vault Keeper. Some of them will actually have the name Vault Keeper, or they'll have, like, a real name. And here's the Escrow Broker. If you manage to lose your house because you were away for a while and neglected to pay up on it, the Escrow Broker will have your stuff. So, let's go talk to our Vault Keeper, because I believe I have some in shared storage. I don't. Not on this account. I do have my carry-all, though. So I don't on this account. That's unfortunate. I might have put all my housing, all those on a different character. Alas. However, let's do a little bit of backtracking since we're here at the Vault Keeper. Let's open up the wardrobe.
What do you need?
Get the Hobbit present out of the way. So my wardrobe is probably one of the reasons why they're shutting down shared storage transfers for free, because they're probably going to do that. So this is where you can see all of the stuff you've collected. You can also adjust this window a little bit if you want to. See, like that, or however, what you can do is you can sort by what color, you can sort by what kind of item, and it has like actual equipable armor, like statted armor options, various kinds of weapon categories, and then outfit is your cosmetic stuff that looks good but is like paper. And then you can, let's say I want to search for everything that's Erdluin blue. One of the difference between the wardrobe and the paper doll here, let's pick something here. Okay, here's our dressing room paper doll. One thing is different here is the colors here on the dressing room paper doll are not in alphabetical order. They're typically in the order they were added to the game. It's very annoying. Over here, they are in alphabetical order. I personally prefer it that way. And then you can search by, let's see, I want everything that's Erdluin blue, but I only want stuff that goes on the upper body. So these are like my cosmetic upper body outfits that are dyed Erdluin blue. And I could just, you know, plop them on the paper doll and, you know, take a preview and see what they look like. This, of course, is the Andoon Ensemble. The band Andoon Ensemble wears this as their outfit on stage, so that's their groupie outfit. And then, let's say I want to show off everything that is forest green. I don't have quite as many of those, because, you know, blue is my favorite color. And that's one thing you can do with that. That's how they work together. And then what you do is once you use your paper doll to figure out what you want, then you go sort through your wardrobe and figure it out and, you know, pick out the stuff that you want. It's really cool. Alright, what's next in the slide? So that was Hobbit presents. Alright, we're going to talk about a certain young, wacky Hobbit. I'm going to see how fast I can get this character back to Mickle Delving. In the meantime, let's actually talk about Mr. Bingo Boffin, and I'm going to go back to the slides. So, Bingo Boffin is a hobbit who lives in Mickle Delving, close to the town hall, in fact. It was originally a serial quest line offered with one quest a week for one whole year. So 52 quests created by senior content designer Jeff Libby, also known as Maid of Lions, who is the character model for Bingo Boffin. That is straight from the horse's mouth. He was the model for Bingo. Not necessarily in terms of personality, but definitely in terms of, let's see if I have any swifter ways to get on over there. So, I'm sorry you're going to be listening to the sounds of the Shire while I'm trying to figure out how to get back to Mickle Delving as quickly as possible when I don't have any milestones there. You know, I could just switch over to a hunter character. Let's do that. Let's actually switch over to my hunter on this server because she has that unlocked. And, of course, I clicked the wrong button. Good job, me. So, in the meantime, so it starts in Mickle Delving in the Shire. The quests follow an adventurous hobbit by the name of Bingo Boffin who idolizes Bilbo Baggins. And the questline's chapters map to the player's expected journey throughout the game until Rohan, with the minimum level of those quests matching the zones in which they're set. So if you're doing a quest in the Shire, it's based in the Shire, and the normal levels of the Shire. And basically, these days, since it has been, you know, years since that stuff was put into the game, you can pretty much do them at the same time as you're leveling up. While you're doing the quests, you earn bingo badges, and you can barter them with a traveling vendor who will keep up with you called Bert Bartleby. And the bartered items include housing items, cosmetics, and pets. This is something completely optional. It's really fun. It's a bit of the Hobbit, Mr. Boffin, is a little bit silly. He doesn't quite understand what it means to go on an adventure. I think he does learn at the end. And there's a sweet ending to the quest. Now, there is something that's very important. There is a slight piece of optional content in the Bingo Boffin questline that will change based on what you have done in something else. One of the quests takes you to Bree. It involves turtles. At one point in that quest line, you will want to have something equipped called the Horseshoe. The reason you want to do that is because it changes one tiny thing. It doesn't change the thrust of the quest. I don't want to spoil it for you because it's actually really cool. So you want to have one of these two horseshoes. Now, one of them can be acquired through doing the epic quest line in Enedwaith. You'll get something called Erebrandir's Horseshoe. Or, if you want to get it sooner than that and aren't of a level to necessarily get it, you can acquire something called Erebrandir's Other Horseshoe through the upcoming anniversary event. So I would recommend getting one of those horseshoes before you do the Bingo Boffin quest line in Eregion in Gwingris. Okay, thank you, Stege. I appreciate that. I knew it was one of the E names. So it was in Eregion, so it's even before Enedwaith. And that will get you the ability to see something during the turtle quest in Bingo Boffin, and then that will do something at the end of the Bingo Boffin questline. It's really cool. You don't have to do it if it's too much trouble, but it's recommended if you want the full experience. And the Bingo Boffin questline is one of those times where we mentioned last time, where you might want to click on somebody who's got the blue quest ring over their head because they might have additional dialogue. In those quest lines, most of that dialogue is actually voiced. There's a voice actor reading the quest. Cat hair. And so it gives a little bit of extra experience if that's something you're interested in. All right, what's next? Nothing. We're done. We're done for today. Yay! Despite the crashes, we made it to 6 o'clock, just about. These are helpful links of the day. Again, the first 3 sites are run and owned by Standing Stone Games. They are official for Lord of the Rings Online. The following 3 sites are fan-run sites. They have no official ties to Standing Stone, though Standing Stone does like to promote them a lot, especially Fibro Jedi, who used to be a member of our LOTRO stream team. Thief Kitty would like to say hello to everybody, because he's a Thief Kitty. Alright, so that's a lot of content. As I mentioned, the festival is on right now in LOTRO, the Spring Festival, so if you wanted to check a festival out and see what it's like. One of the things about festivals is they tend to have what's called a wrapper quest. It's like a one NPC that you go to, and they will give you a daily quest. It's like, do 10 of these or however many of these per day. And then if you do 4 of them, 4 days worth or whatever, then you get some rewards. So highly recommended that you do the wrapper quest, because there's a whole meta quest to doing festivals where you can earn some pretty nice rewards if you hit it every single day and then follow through and get like, okay, you've done this 5 days in a row, therefore you get this reward. Now you've done it 20 days in a row and you get this other bigger reward. So there's that to deal with. So, does anybody have any questions in chat? Stega, the other horseshoe is from the anniversary festival that's coming up here in April. So you can get the second horseshoe is one of the yearly rewards, and I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head. If you go to the anniversary thing on the LOTRO wiki, I think it will tell you, or just search for other horseshoe in the wiki, and it will probably take you right to that, or give you the information right on that quest. So our next session is going to be on Wednesday. I'm not going to teach tomorrow because this time frame of the day is when the Poke Professor is on, so we're not going to interrupt the normal broadcast schedule of Signum U. But Wednesday from 4 to 6 or thereabouts, we'll continue. And if you ever need music help, talk to TD Growl. I believe that is her name on all of the servers. You could, send her drop her mail. And TD is very, very awesome and is a very good teacher. The very first time I played music with somebody in all of my time in Lord of the Rings Online, it was with her, because she's awesome. And let's give you a quick preview of what's going on to happen next time. We're going to get crunchy. We're going to actually start talking about the systems in the game, just for an example, your basic stats and stuff. So we're going to get crunchy. So this is the part where the math kicks in. We're not going to go into full-depth theory crafting. I will leave those shenanigans to folks like Chromite. I'm not volunteering Chromite to assist, but if you ask him, he is generally pretty good about answering. Is it 5 days in a row, or is it 5? Yeah, it's basically, it doesn't have to be consecutive, but basically most of the festivals you can do the meta. You can skip a couple of days and still complete the meta. Some of them are a little bit, you have to be careful about it. And once in a while, unfortunately, there might be downtimes that might impact it. But generally, Standing Stone is pretty good about extending festivals if they need to. just like next week, or no, actually on the 26th, they're going to give the Bilbo's birthday, they're going to turn that event on, which is, it happens at Hobbiton, down by water, where you're going to go listen to some hobbits tell some stories. And there's also a coda in the, it's near Esgaroth. So it'll be in the Lone Lake. You can get there as a low-level character. It's very dangerous to do so, but it is possible. You might want to bring some friends in that case. But anyway, thank you all for being here, and thanks for putting up with the brief technical interruption. Yeah, 2 days until Gondorian New Year and the Tolkien Reading Day. I do know that some folks here at Signum University are going to be participating in that. And it should be a lot of fun. And we also have a full schedule here on twitch.tv/SignumU. You can look below the screen and there's the full schedule there. Or if the channel is offline, it'll be off to the right. So again, thanks for being here, and hopefully our next session won't have a brief interruption. I'm not sure if it was XSplit or Twitch that kicked us out, but it was one of the two. So what will happen is on SignumU, there will be a collection of all of these videos. They'll be saved permanently. I will also be uploading this little mess as a single video to my personal YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/c/Druidsfire. Let me link that in chat here for you. That's my personal YouTube channel, and I will post the videos there permanently as well, just in case, and maybe at some nebulous point in the future they decide to take it down here at Signum. Doesn't matter. They have to kick me off first as the Twitch director. However, I hope everybody is staying safe, doing the sensible thing, and, you know, trying to flatten the curve, as it were. Because it's not about, oh, I am afraid of getting sick. You want to think of it as, oh, I'm protecting other people from getting sick. Because a lot of times people don't know they're a carrier of this nastiness. So be safe, be smart, look after your friends, your relatives, your elders, and we'll get through this, okay? Do your best, Findaladen. Hope you stay safe. And thank you for being there for folks who didn't stockpile 5 million rolls of toilet paper and might still need to get a normal human amount. All right? All right, I will see you on Wednesday. Be good, and if you can't be good at it.